you can still see it tracks all the people. There was literally no place to move. You just look down the fairway and there's people left, right, 10 deep, all the way from the tee box to the green. It's phenomenal.
Well, good morning to everybody. I think that this is going to be a very special one. Everybody's going to enjoy this. Shaun, we have Shaun Norris with us this morning in the studio.
Thanks for having me.
What an exciting, thank you very much for joining us, Shaun. Arthi, morning.
You need to feel privileged today because everyone just sees me in a cap. So today I look sharp for you today, Shaun.
You cleaned up nicely.
So we just want to keep saying this is the same person sitting here. We haven't changed hosts.
My grandmother used to work on SABC. She was a presenter and she watched one of the episodes. She says, Arthur, get rid of that cap. You look like an idiot with the cap on. So that's also for her today. So let's see how the views go today without the cap on.
Well, Shaun Norris, we are very excited to tell your story because I think a lot of South Africans would know this. He's not the most out there golfer, So today we'll learn a little bit about you, a little bit about your history, and let's get straight into it. So Shaun, professional player with us, played on every tour. I mean, I'm literally talking European tour, Japan tour, Asian tour, Sunshine tour, PGA, LIV tour. Is there anything I'm missing?
A couple of mini tours back in the day.
I suppose mini tours
in the US and things like that, yeah.
And Shaun, just somewhere from the offset, I mean, Japan, why did you have so many wins in Japan? Was it just you enjoyed it?
I love the country.
Okay.
I mean, it's so easy to travel around there. The courses are phenomenal. The people have been friendly and great. And so, yeah, I think when you start enjoying it and having fun all the time, good golf just follows.
It's amazing that you say that because I was hoping that there's something behind the reason you won so much there. And it shows you that if you were in the right mental space about where you are and what you're playing, it also translates into more wins.
No, definitely.
Well, that's very cool. And Shaun, so just give us a little bit of insight. Who you are, where it all started for you. I know you've got two kids, youngest being 9 months, so you're also a dad in between all of this.
Yeah.
I know you're Joburg born. I'll at least start there as the obvious one. Am I right? Pretoria.
Yeah.
Oh, very specific. Not Joburg.
Yeah.
So just give us a little bit of your insight into who you are and where it all started and where you find yourself now.
Golf started with Dad bringing me and my brothers into the game at a young age. And, ever since touching a golf club, loved it. He gave us an opportunity by moving to Silver Lakes in, I think, 94. And being on a golf estate like that, being able to play every day and practice every day, gave us an opportunity to take it on as a career. So, yeah.
I know that rugby was at some stage an ambition for you.
Yeah, for sure. But, rugby is a different sport. It's a hard sport. I mean, and the expectancy of rugby players, you're not going to play much longer than the age of 30. So, and I enjoyed the golf more, the peacefulness out there and things like that. So decided to take that on.
And yourself and Candy, you guys are married. How long has that been?
Now you're putting me on the spot.
Well,
I think it's 5 years, 6 years coming next year. She's been great and such a great support, not just to me and my golf, but in life as well. Even prior when we met, I mean, I barely had anything on my name. I didn't own a car. I had to ask her to borrow a car to Leopard Creek the 1 year. And that's when it all changed a little bit. Made enough money to send myself over to Asian tour school, and here we are today.
And tell me when, because I mean you're a dad 4 years, so you've been a dad for quite some time. But do you remember a change in the way that you looked at golf, where you went to go and play when kids became part of your life?
You're always thinking of the kids, always missing them when you travel. And the last couple of years since COVID, it's been a little bit harder and rougher on, I think, all the players out there, because to try and put your family through that type of travel and going through testing all the time and quarantining is hard. So we decided to just have them stay at home, have the family around them like that, and I'll take on the traveling. But you know, when you walk off a golf course and you've had a long day and it's not been going well or whatever, and you get home and you see that little one smile at you, they're not thinking of that. So it just makes life worth it. It just, you forget about everything else and you don't worry about the golf then.
And tell me, Shaun, I don't mean to put you on the spot here a little bit, but you've played on all these wonderful tours. You've got an incredible history with the PGA as well. You know, you've played in great majors. You, which I want to dive into at some stage, had some great moments with Tiger Woods, and now you sit on the LIV Tour. You know, the LIV Tour, obviously, I think that, you know, we can all say it, it's been a bit controversial. You know, a lot of things from different places around the world, but from a South African's perspective, it's been very good for our South African players, and they're excelling on that tour. And so, take us a little bit through that decision and that process.
You know, I was sort of given a golden ticket this year by winning Steyn City, giving me my DP full card and things like that. And then also winning last year in Japan, winning the Japan Open. I've got 5 years exemption there. And Liv approached me by saying, well, we'll give you some events this year if you want to play. They offered me some events and I said, yeah, well, let's see what it's all about. I mean, like I said, I'm not getting younger, and gave me an opportunity to try and take it on. And yeah, it's been good. I really enjoyed it.
You know, Shaun, it's a little bit like, hear me out. You know, let's say you've been selling Toyota and Ford as an example your whole life. There's a lot of cars that come into the market now that challenge those big boys. Then you switch over to that. You know, it's because there's a market, there's an opportunity. And like you say, we're not getting younger. You know?
And unfortunately, the game, you know, has been the same for how many years? Nothing's ever changed. And they came up with a concept that's completely new, completely different. And I really think it's going to work.
It's already working.
Yeah.
Well, not just that. I mean, look from the LIV Tour perspective. I mean, they look after the players, their families, their travel, their caddies.
But Arthur, dive into that a little bit with Shaun. Tell us.
I think he can. Listen, I wish I'd be playing on the LIV Tour right now, but he could elaborate more. But they really look after the players well, and I think he can dive into that a bit.
Well, you know, any other tournament in the world, you've always had to pay your own way. You've got to get there on your own steam. So you're paying your flight ticket, not just for yourself if you're taking your family with. Then you're paying for your accommodation. Some events, they tend to now and then give us a car for the week. So that's how it's always been. LIV has decided they're going to actually use the players and really look after them and their staff and their assistants from caddies and whatever. So flights are covered, hotel accommodations covered, transport's covered, food, breakfast, lunch and dinner every day is covered. So, I mean, you literally are sitting there the whole week. I never even touched a cent and played the whole week. So they're really trying to look after the players every week and doing it a little bit differently.
And we always say, it's just business. That's such a common saying. But it feels like with this, it's so emotional. Where it's a business decision at the end of the day. And your business is golf.
Yeah, and you know, everybody thinks that, you know, sometimes people say, but they're not playing for the money. You know, if you weren't playing for the money and they weren't paying you, how would you survive?
Absolutely.
Would you be able to pay your rent? Would you be able to buy food? So you are, in fact, playing for a living as well.
You know, I don't know enough about, you know, I think I'm a retail informationist when it comes to all these tours. We see whatever has been spit out. You know, we don't know the behind the scenes always. But for me, it was just a great opportunity that came about. It's growing the game of golf. You know, some would argue differently, but I would say they've changed the way that you can view it and interact with the tour. And it's a little bit, so I think a lot of South Africans stand literally behind you. But Shaun, how does it feel? Did you go a little bit under the gun with that decision? Was there a little bit of pushback?
No, I took my time in making that decision. with my management group and things like that. But eventually we came down and we said, why not? I mean, let's try it out and see what happens. And, never know. You win one of those and get a full-time card there, you're not going to be unhappy.
Yeah. It's Dustin Johnson, what did he say? They asked him, you happy made the decision? He was like, well, I've played 6 events, made 30 million rand. I think I'm pretty happy with my decision.
30 million rand or 30
No, dollars. Sorry,
million
of course. Sorry, what am I even? You won't get up for 30 million.
And Pat Perez is just riding his wave.
And riding his wave.
Yeah.
All they're doing is taking time off and fishing. But they're loving life. And you know what? That was the other part of that I really enjoyed was all the players interacted with each other. We had breakfast and lunches and dinners together. The caddies were always in between us as well. So we got to really know the people inside and out.
I was just going to ask you that because that's a big difference, huh? And also caddies, because I know in traditional sense, and I don't think it's just particular tour, caddies have their section and it's...
Yeah. I caddied for Eric at the DP World Final in Jumeirah. And I was not allowed in the players' lounge.
And
I'm a friend.
Yeah.
Also caddying for him because he needed help that week. And I had to sit in the tent and, do my thing.
You had to sit in your different tent, yeah.
No offense to DP World. I think, every structure is there for a particular reason. So, but, it would have been nice to have lunch with him after the round and talk a bit of cuck and just be there as a friend, not as a caddy afterwards. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So,
but Arthur, if you speak to every single player, their caddies are not just, it's not a function. They are there for mental capacity. They're there for a hell of a lot of things. And most players we speak to on here, you cannot talk to me unless you talk with the people behind me. Any success behind it. So I like that so much because I think the world, Shaun, there's enough elitist stuff in this world. And I think the world needs to start recognizing, everybody plays a role.
Golfers are not there by themselves.
Yeah.
It's like a Formula One team. You got this guy is your mental coach, this guy's your coach, this one is your physio, that one's your caddy. It's a whole team.
Yeah. And they're all together all the time. And I was listening to some interviews of you and you spoke so beautifully and just hear me out and I hope I'm not, but it was a 16 or 17 minute interview and almost 80% of the questions was from Tiger, was about Tiger. The fact that you played in 2 majors with him now, but the last major was obviously extra special. So do you mind diving into that a little bit? Because I know it was just after the the most recent car accident. And that was, I think, his first or his second tour back.
I think it was his first event back.
I think it was his first event back. Yeah. What was that like? Because I know you actually played around with him there.
Yeah. No, I got been privileged to be able to play with him in the British Open at Carnoustie a few years back, and he actually got himself into contention that week on the Saturday after that round. Yeah, and this time with his injury there and him coming back into the game again and making the cut, even just making the cut with what's happened, and I mean, you could see the guy was in pain. But mentally, he is so strong. It's just how he pushes himself through that to get and do what he does is amazing. And I mean, you can still see he attracts all the people. There was literally no place to move. You just look down the fairway and there's people left, right, 10 deep, all the way from the tee box to the green. It's phenomenal.
What was that like for you personally?
Playing with him, when there's so many people, you don't actually see movement or hear stuff, but it's when you're playing where there's less people that you actually start seeing and hearing stuff. But he's just such a cool guy. And we had a long chat about the kids and things like that, and him pushing Charlie on and helping him out with these tournaments lately, and even caddying for him, which is great to see that he's up and about again. So, he's such a good sportsman, and he's done so much for golf for all of us that we all want him to be back to his normal 100%. So hopefully he heals up quickly, and let's see.
And Shaun, just sort of leading off from that, you've had some incredible special moments in golf, but what is, in your view, if you had to summarize it, what was one of the most special moments for you in your career?
You know, when I won the co-sanctioned event in Myanmar that qualified me for Japan, a friend of mine said, take up your Japanese tour card. I did that, and the year after I went back there and I won basically their tour championship. And I just had an absolute blinder of a week, just phenomenal golf. I won by, I think it was 6 or 7. And it was not an easy golf course. And when I won that event, on the flight, I flew back home. On the flight back, I got a message from a friend saying, you've just qualified for the British Open as well. And then when I saw my dad when I got back, that was, for me, especially because I knew that was the one thing he'd always want to do. He wanted to be able to go with one of us to a major. So, yeah, took my whole family over to Carnoustie, and having my dad there and my mom there, my wife was there, and then my middle brother was caddying for me. It was just a phenomenal week.
And if you had to say to yourself, if a golfer sits in front of you, professional golfer chasing something, major in England versus a major in the States?
Yo, that's a tough one. Unfortunately, I've never been able to play in the Masters, but the US Open and
US Open
PGA,
you played.
They've been very good. But I think all South Africans, we all grow in a way to win the Open. The British Open, somewhere on that island, that's where we want to win. And having a guy like Louis Oosthuizen winning it was great for us to see. So I think that's probably every South African's biggest dream.
Yeah, it's to win one of those big ones.
Yeah.
And I suppose the nostalgia, or whatever I hope I'm using the right Dutchman word here, for that feeling. Because even if you if you listen to some interviews, the PGA, that tour, the British Open,
Yeah.
that's the one.
Well, that's what we also grew up watching.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
It was on our time zone.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and you've got good past history. You got Louis, you got Ernie.
Yeah.
I mean, Ernie's win was special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I think for many South Africans, the British Open is the one.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So talk to us a little bit about your golf, your game of golf. Where are you at the moment in your mind? Now, I want to just get a bit of insight here and help because we all think, it would be great to draw, it would be fantastic, but you've got a stock shot of a fade.
Yeah.
Why and what is on tour? Do you see the most? Are people going towards hitting it straight? Is it to shape the ball? Where is the economy lying at the moment?
Well, all my life as a junior, I used to hit a little fade, and when I started getting older and stronger, coaches tried to get me to try and hit the ball
Inside
more
out.
right to left and hit it further and things like that. And I eventually it never helped me. I felt too inconsistent. I would have
You probably missed it both ways, right and left.
Yeah, and I'd have one or two really good rounds and then one very bad one. And then one day I saw a picture of myself when I was 16. I played the interprovincials somewhere, and I saw the top of my backswing, and I was like, I'm just going to go back to that same feeling. And that just brought my old feelings back of hitting the ball left to right, and I just kept going with that and felt more consistent and more comfortable on the golf course doing that. And, like I said, you got to find something that works for you. Everybody's different. I mean, if you grew up hitting a draw all your life, you're comfortable with that. But I've never been comfortable hitting a draw. So I literally just went back to what I used to feel and what I liked to do. And it was paying off. Somehow it was working, and I put me where I am today. But, with technology and everything changing as it is, the ball is just coming out straighter and straighter and straighter. So you're actually taking the skill out of the game away. So, hopefully they'll cap the ball eventually or do something somewhere. But technology is just getting so good that it can turn anybody into the straightest ball striker in the world.
But That's an interesting thing. Maybe you guys can help me with that. Sorry, that's a bit random, this one. But the ball are being made to go straighter. But
Well,
is that...
and further?
Yeah.
So ball speed's getting faster.
But does that correlate with the coaching mindset of shaping a ball? Or...
Well, back in the day, let's go back 20, 30 years with equipment. Okay, the technology was obviously there, but if you look at all the older players, they just wanted to hit shapes. They weren't trying to hit straight shots and whatnot. They would hit their big fades and their big draws and maneuver the golf ball. If you knew how to maneuver the golf ball, you were the good players. You were the greats. And I think with the golf courses getting longer and technology getting better, I think also for viewership, you want to see how far the ball can go and travel and the ball speeds and, you know, all of that. I think it just benefits viewership, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes the game slightly easier as well. But you still need to be good. You still need to get the ball in the hole.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
still not going to go straight for you.
Well, you can still hit it 45 degrees right.
Exactly.
With good tech.
I saw that this weekend at Pretoria Country Club.
Correct.
It's still possible. I
It's
just want to
still
put it out
possible.
there.
I was aiming for straight and it just didn't want to go.
I was speaking about myself, but yes, you're right. There was a few moments like that for you too, Arthur.
Yeah, but it was scramble drive, so I was trying to get that extra yards a couple of times. So. But yeah, I just think the tech's getting better. I don't have the best answer or the right answer, I think, but you know, the R&D going into product is not it's a big market. Everyone wants to be the best. Everyone wants to be the best ball, the best putter, the best driver, you know, the best brand. So
But what's best for you is really what's important.
correct.
Because what's best for them is not necessarily best for you. So they make a driver to do this particular, but that's not maybe yours.
Correct.
So I think that's where the custom fitting, which is becoming more and more prevalent, that golf is going more and more to a place as technology involves. You think it becomes more standard, but it's actually the opposite. You have to fit now more specifically because of the way that and also every brand stands for something within their technology. So it's not like they have a common goal. They all fight each other for different marketing and for different words and stuff that needs to be used.
Yeah.
And you've got good tech now. I mean, you've got FlyScope, TrackMan, GC
Yeah.
Quad that
Yeah.
gives you the numbers and
Yeah.
the data.
Yeah.
So you can track it a bit better. So
Yeah.
now all of a sudden,
There's a point of reference.
correct. Now all of a sudden you know what ball to use based on spin rate and
Yeah.
launch angle, etc. So it's just the tech is going wild, and I think it's good for the game of golf. Now you can actually watch TV and
Know what's going on.
what's going on. You can see shot traces and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's great.
And Shaun, just for the everyday man as well. So putting you're incredibly strong at.
I think one of the best. In the world.
I think one of the best in the world. In fact, not just out of own mouths, on a lot of conversation that you're one of the. They call you a genius in putting. But then I know that your short game has not been a weakness, because I don't want to state it that way. Because even in any sport that you do, you know, I'm going to be a great ball thrower. I might not be able to kick it so well. Therefore, I work on that so that it gets better.
Yeah.
So how did you approach that? And I know that you've almost made that the weaker part of your game. You've almost made it a strength for yourself. So you've worked yourself around it. What is your approach with that?
Well, I think that's something all golfers go through eventually in life. They always try and perfect every part of the game, and it needs to look good.
Yeah.
I mean, Arthur would know. We all try and everybody says, but you have to chip this one or you have to do this, but it's not the case. It's getting the ball in the hole. It doesn't matter how.
Yeah.
And I fell back to starting to hit some putts from off the green and things like that, and I realized, damn, I'm actually getting them close, or I'm getting them in the hole. So I just kept going with that and stopped worrying about what I looked like and what people thought of me.
So that was actually literally a part of it, huh?
Yeah.
My word, Shaun. I would have thought at your level, it's almost irrelevant. Where at amateurs, I completely get it. We go through this ego thing. Like my one mate, Toffee, doesn't have an ego because he takes a driver from 80 meters in and puts it onto the green. But that's a skill he's got.
Yeah, but just remember, as a professional golfer, you want to tick all the boxes. You want to perfect every single category, whether it's bunkers or pitching or chipping everyone works on stats. If you have 50% fairways hit for the week, you know you didn't have a good driving week, so you want to then work on it and stuff like that. So it's also stat orientated, and you want to look good and look like a professional. So it's going to sit in your sit there mentally, and you're going to have those demons to fight with. But I think Shaun got to a point where there was 0 Fs given, and he just carried on doing what he needed to do and used it to his strength.
Yeah.
And I think it came down to a bit of knowing your game,
Yeah.
a bit of course management, know when to do it and when not to do it.
Yeah.
And the crucial thing that people don't realize is you need to keep it simple.
Yeah.
It's not a complicated thing to get the ball in the hole. You just need to know your game, play to your strength, and get the damn ball in the hole at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how you do it. You could teeth your lob wedge or Texas wedge it, or you get what I'm saying. If that's your strength, then go wild. You get what I'm saying. So I think from your struggles to where you are is amazing. I mean, you're a good, what's the right word? A good example.
Good all-rounder.
Yes, well, a good example that there's many ways to skin a cat and many ways to get the ball in the hole and have a very good career doing it.
There's a lot of guys out there that struggle with some part of the game. And unfortunately, we're all human. I mean, we all make mistakes. But it's trying to get to a point in your life to realize it's not a game of perfection. I mean, you're not going to perfect it. And we've seen how many years Tiger has gone through changing of swings, changing of this, changing of that. He's trying to perfect it. He's trying to find a way, but even he can't. And you got to find a way to get the ball in the hole. So I found a way that works for me. You know, some days it works. Some days it does work. Then I have to hit a couple of nice chips and I'm happy for the day. But the next day I feel a little bit differently and it doesn't work. So I had to figure out a way, and somehow it's been working out.
I tell you, if you really want to know how everybody's approach is so different, just go and play a round of American Scramble.
Yeah.
Then you'll see 4 balls. One is going to take out a 3-wood, one's going to take out a 7-iron, and the other one's going to putt it onto the green. We saw it this week in Gary play. It sort of sits there with me. So, you know, tackle the game, and it's really important what you said there, Shaun. Because you're born in 1982, so now 40 years old. So maybe the age has also played a role where I don't care anymore. I'm born in 82 as well, 4th of February. So you get to a point where, but then to me, once I started not, and I don't want to say disrespectfully not caring, but it then accelerated our career, where you just started saying, I'm not going to care what the world says, outside influence, because I'm the one taking this to all the way to the hole. I'm the one. Life. And nobody has ever said, remember that major win of Tiger, but do you remember that he putted quite a bit around the greens? Nobody's ever said that.
The British Open that he won at Royal Liverpool, I think he hit driver once.
Once.
So, I mean, it
yeah.
doesn't matter. No, it really does not matter.
Just literally trying to find the best way to your ability to get the ball in the hole.
So Eric van Rooyen, when he was here, he also said he feels like it's the start of his career, and not the start, but it feels like everything is now coming to alignment. His team is good. He's got a better mindset on things. He's worked on all of that. Where do you feel you are?
I'm like a fine wine. I keep maturing.
Lovely. That's a great answer, because a lot of the people...
From brandy to cognac.
Yeah.
That's a good example.
Yamazaki 18 year.
But then, Shaun, you've also got a lot of people around you that supported you up to this particular point. You know, and we spoke about it so often where, you know, I know we don't want this to make... but I really appreciate all the brands that are behind these players, you know, because it's a long journey that they have to travel with you. It's got a lots of ups and downs. And again, we always go back to sport is not a team sport. So it's individual success. The man with the biggest percentage rate is 12% of wins in his prime, which was Tiger.
Yeah.
That drops to 5% after that.
Yeah.
7% difference between the closest second person in the world. So if you think about Tiger's going to play 100 rounds of golf, he's only going to win 12 of that.
Yeah.
At his prime.
Yeah.
So it is such a challenging game.
No, it is.
Even if you're a freak of nature, and your brands have stood by you. So just tell us a little bit about the brands that you're involved with at the moment, and the sponsors and the support team behind you.
You know, I've been with Callaway now for a few years, and they've been very good for me. really looking after me nicely. Titleist has always been there. Ball, shoe, glove. Clothing-wise, I'm with Choose, which is a Swiss company.
I don't know them.
Very big into ski gear and things like that. And playing in Japan as well. The company is there, based in Japan as well. A lot of skiing going on in the winter time there. So they approached me, and I was glad to actually have them approach me. The stuff is phenomenal. Clothing's comfortable, really good. Yeah, you know, and all the other companies you had Mike de Jong in here with John Doe glasses helping out with sunglasses and things like that. So, yeah.
It's fantastic glass. I haven't stopped wearing them since I bought them on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I haven't stopped wearing those glasses.
Those
lenses are unreal. But it's also the comfortability of it. You know, I don't care about, you know, the look is obviously always a nice aesthetic thing, but for me it's practicality. And I'm not 22. I don't care how it looks. It needs to suit and function for me as a
I
glass.
spoke to Mike yesterday and I said, listen, I'm seeing the world from a different view now. Everything's in HD at the moment. So, no, they
Is he sending our cases?
We'll see.
No, but it's amazing. You need all these companies and sponsors behind me. I actually forgot Cross Country Insurance, who's been with me now for about 2-3 years. And they've just been phenomenal. I mean, helping not just me out, but my family, and with the support from their side. I mean, you can't do all these things you want to do if you don't have these companies assisting or helping you out like they do.
And Shaun Norris, what's next? Where from here? What's next? Give us a vision into the next 3 to 6 months in your life.
The next couple of weeks I'm busy here. Joburg Open, South African Open, and then Daniel at Leopard Creek.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take a well-needed break.
Okay. In SA?
Yeah. I'm going to go down to the coast with the family and things like that. But January, I think from mid-January till, I think end of March or something, it's going to be busy. A lot of DP events in the Middle East, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and those places. And then we come back here again for a few events this side as well. So it's going to be busy, it's going to be hectic, but looking forward to it.
So Shaun, last night when I found out that you're 40 years old, I must be honest, I felt quite shit about myself. So and at your type of performance in peak, and I just want to, again, because I know golfers, but exercise and training is a big part of your life, nay?
Dead honest.
Yeah.
No.
So tell us.
I might do a little bit of stretching here and there.
Yeah?
That's it.
But how do you keep in shape the way that you are?
I walk a lot of golf holes.
Okay, a lot of golf.
Where do the forearms
Yeah, I was just going to say.
From genetics? Or?
Yeah, I think that's a little bit from dad, and a little bit of gymnastics. When I was a kid, my dad took us, put us in gymnastics. He wanted us to strengthen our arms and wrists, and then he had a little thing that once or twice a week we had to do when we got home from school. It was called the brick. And so it was a brick tied up on a rope with a little piece of a broomstick at the top. So you had to roll it up and down. And he said, that's 5 up and 5 down, and then you can carry on and go do what you want for the rest of the day.
And that was for
So
the...
is it that, eh?
Yep.
My goodness.
Because between him and Paul Casey, they've got flipping units of forearms, eh? Other than golf and touring and, you know, playing on the golf course, what else do you have going for yourself at the moment?
Well, we started a new initiative this year. I've got a couple of people that are working for me, and they, because of me being overseas so much, they didn't have much to do. So we decided not to start a management group, but more of assisting youngsters and up-and-coming players and trying to put them on the right path. Basically doing all their logistics and things like that to try and make their week or their play for the week a little bit simpler and easier without them having to worry. And then the bigger picture, end of the day, is to try and get them on the right path to go play overseas somewhere and try and give them the best opportunities they have.
Which obviously you didn't have when you were a kid.
No, it was tough. I mean, at the start of my career, it was always me and my mom or somebody like that, and you can't always try and organize things quickly, and couldn't do it because we didn't have the contacts. We didn't know how to do it. And by playing tournaments that way, you're actually stressed out and you can't focus properly. You can't
Got all
play.
that baggage.
Yeah, you can't play well.
Yeah, I can use myself an example. Playing second round and you're on the cut line, and whether you're in India or Zambia or Zim, now you're stressing. You know, you're trying to push to make the cut because the logistics of trying to fly back on Friday night or Saturday morning is not easy. You know, you can't just pick up the phone and phone someone and say change my flights. You know, it's very, very complicated. So I think that's a very, very good initiative for young and upcoming players. Do you also look for sponsors for them?
Yes, so we, as a company, like I said, we started this year. So we're starting to now go into the point where we want to try and approach a couple of companies and bring a couple of sponsors in to help these youngsters and guide them and help them on the right way, make it easier for them to play. And like you said, you don't want to hang around over a weekend because that's also a costly thing to sit around and not be able to play the event.
It's another 2 nights, hotel room, food.
Exactly. So we try to make it easier for them in a way to not have to worry when they go out on the golf course, to be open-minded and literally go out there to play their own game.
Yeah, and you also get parents that, you know, want to support their children as much as possible, but they're also not experts at arranging these things, if you get what I'm saying. So
No,
you make
exactly.
their life easier as well, in a sense, because they're unknown to that as well.
Well, sometimes they're sitting in an office and they got to work as well. Like example for my mom was also sometimes busy with her work. So, you know, eventually I got to a point, and I'm with a lovely group now, Hype Management, which is based in the UK.
Hype.
Yeah. And they look after me, and I never have any worries, and that makes me more comfortable on the golf course. But now we've started something smaller just to try and help the South Africans to get on the right way, on the right pathway. If they want to go to Asia, Japan, Europe, we try and help them and guide them to say, okay, this will be the easiest way of doing it, and the most economical way of doing it, to try and really make it easy on them.
And I think at the end of the day, you're trying to create opportunity for young South Africans. So I think we're a strong sporting nation, you know, in golf especially as well. I think we've got brilliant talents that are up and coming, but they don't have the opportunity to actually go full steam ahead because they don't
100%.
have the opportunity and the skill sets to do those things. So I think that's great.
So, yeah, no, like you said, the talent we have in this country is phenomenal. I mean, year in, year out, there are more youngsters coming out. But unfortunately, I don't think they all have the right guidance. And I just want to be able to get youngsters to actually reach their potential quicker. Unlike me, where it took me a lot longer to get to where I am today.
So, I mean, 40 years old, getting onto the LIV Tour, I mean, it's taken you a while, eh?
No, it's okay.
Looks 28. But how did people get contact with you on that, Shaun?
Well, I'm on social media, on Facebook and things like that. And, you know, I don't really run it or anything like that.
But there'll be people that will.
I've got the team that
Yeah.
they basically do that. And my wife and Nigel Roscoe and Natasha, they basically look after the youngsters and the kids. And we do have a few players now at the moment, and they're excelling. I mean, and I'm just grateful to see that it's working, that we can get these kids to actually play that as to their full potential.
It's the first time, Shaun, that your answers were slightly extended. Your passion immediately comes through when you just said that you've seen some youngsters. It's actually been improvement, and that seems to be very close to your heart.
Yeah, I mean, I've like I said, I mean, I was in a family with 3 brothers. We all played. I still play professionally. They used to, but to have seen what my parents had to go through, to be able to give us that opportunity was hard when I realized what they were giving us and what they had to go through. And I think it's hard on parents as well. So I realized that that's something that I'd like to help with. I want to be able to help and give something from what I've learned over the 20 years I've been on tour and things like that, to try and help these youngsters actually get out there, because a lot of these guys don't even get close to it, and then decide to quit the game.
And if somebody's listening to this now and they would want to support this initiative with you, they may contact and reach out and take it from there.
Yeah.
So it could be from equipment, it could be financial, it could be insurance, whatever that might is and what they need in order to do what they need to do.
Well, we've been like you said, insurance. We've been fortunate enough with cross country.
Cross country.
Who's not just helped me out over the last 3 years, but they've actually stepped in and said they will start supporting guys in the group already, which is we're very grateful for, and I think everybody under Onyx is grateful for at the moment.
And the company is called
Onyx.
Onyx. Okay. And for that move to happen, you had to get to a point where you are obviously very grateful for where you are and what you've achieved, and therefore it's time for you to pass a little bit over onto that. And I can see it comes from such a real place, Shaun. So hopefully we can help you get that support.
Thank you. Thanks.
Now, from my side, what a privilege this morning has been. You know, Shaun, I said it to Eric Van Roy, and I won't repeat it in exactly the same way, but it's a little bit starstruck for us also this morning. Your presence is incredible. Thank you for everything that you do for golf. You make us very proud of it. And just the way that you also conduct yourself. You know, just from an outside perspective, Shaun, I'm very proud to sit here this morning, and thank you for that honor that we can sit and chat with you on all these things. And I think this conversation that we had today, there was a lot of call to actions for me, which is, you know, as we learn about what we do here, we don't want attention. It's influence, and that to me also when I started seeing we can make an impact with this, that really excites me and Arthur to also, because it's time and effort, you know, but that excites us for doing it. And thank you for guys like you that come onto this and give us a lot of credibility in that journey that we are chasing.
No, thanks for having me. And you know what, like you guys said, it's phenomenal, not just for us, but for the viewers to be able to see what the players go through. And, you know, I think this helps another youngster by listening.
And a mom and dad.
Yeah, and a mom and dad. You see.
Right now.
So you guys are doing a phenomenal job in having this and, you know, supporting us as well in our careers. And thanks, really appreciate for having me out here today.
Well, thank you for what you guys do and the professional golfers, because we wouldn't have the show if it wasn't for you.
For
guys.
you, yeah. But I bet you now, Shaun, everybody in South Africa, because you're going to see a completely different light. What's so funny is that 14% of our viewers come out of Asia, 17% come out of America. So it's so strange, but the balance of it is in Africa, and that was the idea from the beginning, to give a platform. Dave Uzendorf also just asked me on a side note to send love and regards.
No, thanks.
Thanks, Arthur.
Yeah, thanks, Shaun.
Thanks so much
for joining us today. I think I even messaged Shaun when he was overseas. I don't know if you're playing a live event or you're playing in Asia, but just, you know, being a great guy, giving the courtesy of messaging back and actually wanting to come here. Always nice seeing you.
No, thanks for having me, really.
And good luck for the rest of the season.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
And RC, also nice to see you without a cap.
I might get some hair product sponsorships after this episode.
Revlon, if you're listening.
Anyone want to sign a
L'Oreal shirt next week?
You know, the model agencies, you know, I'm available.
Based out of Copperleaf.
You know, master of a lot of things at the moment. All right.
Well, bless you and all your family as well, Shaun.
Blessings
to over your management team, the company that you're starting, and all the support for it. Honestly, we bless that journey that you're on about, because I visualize this accelerator for you at the moment, and whether that be in performance in golf, but just now your stamp in golf and in this world. And I think you really are on that journey path at the moment.
Thank you so much.
Bless you. Thank you. Thanks, Arthur.